Mike, you take the obvious.
I mean, he's just leaning.
For tonight's session, we're going to have a discussion about Chris Hein. Chris Hein is a gentleman that Rob and I at least have spoken with a number of times over the years, back in the Aunkai web days, who actually has a lot of interesting content that he's putting out there on a whole bunch of different subjects. But just a few weeks back, he started putting out some videos about internal power, internal skills, or whatever else he might be referring to it as. So I think you guys have seen the videos. We'll play some sections of it, but I think it's kind of interesting because he hits on some of the right things, but then I don't know, he's missing some things, and then you see how his body moves, and you can tell that he's definitely missing some other things. So why don't I start the first video? I'm going to go share here, and we're gonna just I kind of want to get you guys' reactions to what Chris has to say when he's talking about kind of his explanation for what we might call maybe Jin. But all right, here we go.
The ways I like to break that up is force angle. Force angle could be used for an alignment, right? So you could say an alignment is a force angle. And sometimes we'll also use force angles that go perpendicular depending on what we want to achieve. So when we're talking about all the internal power stuff, you got to understand that we're using both sides of it, right? So to seem like we are more powerful sometimes, and also to make other people seem like they are weaker, right? Or you don't tell them they're weaker, you tell them that that you're so strong that you can resist what they're doing, right? But it's a way to change the angle of the force to what they're doing, and it'll be deceptive for them and make it really hard for them to make a lot of force. And then also you can improve the angle to align the angle to make yourself seem really strong. So I know that.
So I'm going to kind of skip forward to where he kind of starts demoing this. And of course, if you guys want to stop me anytime, you got comments, whatever, feel free.
Most of the time, the way our brains kind of think of force is like this. So if Josh had his hands up and he's pushing against me, that I push against Josh's hands, and so his force is coming this way and my force is coming that way, and if Josh is stronger than me, he'll push me over, and if I'm stronger than Josh, I push Josh over, right? So that's a real common way to think of it. I'm going to show it with the stick because the stick to me makes a demonstration kind of fun. Okay, so if I was showing you that and I was telling you that, Josh is going to push me over, and so his objective is just to push me straight over like that, okay? And I stand here like this, and Josh goes to push me over. Okay, now look, he's pushing pretty dang hard.
Okay. I'm just going to say something here real quick. Okay, I mean, Mike's laughing.
Go
what do you guys see here right now that's kind of an indication of something not quite being correct?
His beard? No, sorry, I couldn't resist. Actually, it's a nice beard, but
it's better than I can grow, to be honest.
Mike, you take the obvious.
I mean, he's just leaning. He right now he's just trying to show off like a proof of concept, but later he shows something else, I think, where he's like, I'm just pushing. I think he says after, I'm just pushing up, but it's just like, no, you're just leaning.
Yeah, so
like, because if you let go, you would topple over right now really, really, really quickly.
By the way, and I'll add, I think it's interesting that he uses a stick, and I often use the stick to make these exercises simpler, because we have an exercise, called push out. The other person basically, exhibits force on you from that standing posture, and you're not supposed to lean, and then figure out how do you exhibit an effect on the other person without leaning. But I'll use a stick actually. And there's a secret in where you touch the stick on your hand that completely changes the equation, actually. And he's not doing it.
And just as a point for everyone else, the stick is a huge cheat for everything.
Huge.
It's huge. It's unbelievable how much of a cheat that thing is.
But cheat, by the way, when Hunter says cheat in terms of accelerating your development, not just to do a trick.
Exactly. Exactly. It makes everything so much clearer and cleaner.
Yep.
All right, so let's continue here.
Pushing pretty hard, and I'm on 1 foot, and this guy can't shove me over. And why can't he shove me over, right? Well, he can't shove me over because while Josh is pushing this direction, I'm pushing this direction. So the angle of the force that I'm resisting him with isn't this way, right? And if I'm on 1 foot and Josh pushes against me and I'm on 1 foot, this is what happens, right? He just pushes me right over. Because I'm not stable as Josh is, and so when we're pushing this way, he'll win. But when I push up like this, Josh's muscles can't work 2 directions at one time. They either have to go this way or this way. So if I'm pushing against him this way, he will start to naturally, even without him knowing it, start pushing down, right? So he's going to start pushing against me down. Now what that does is it actually roots me a little more, right? So makes me a little more connected to the ground, and him a little less connected to the ground. So that helps. Plus, he cannot push as hard this way because he's using his force this way. So he's kind of alternating his force between down and out and down and out and down and out. So he feels about half as strong as he normally would be because he's using about half as much force, right? So the time's alternating between.
So I'm hearing that down and out. Something else is coming to mind, but
I was going to say the irony. Oh, the irony.
yes, but he's talking about giving upwards force, but where do you guys see him generating that upwards force?
I don't.
I understand what he's saying. And when he just simply leans onto the guy without an aligned structure, then he can't actually exhibit his mass onto the other guy. And by the way, we do an exercise like this, where it's like, how do you lean onto somebody properly and align yourself so that you exhibit maximum effect on the other person?
Hey,
It's
Rob,
almost like, how do you do?
Interject real quick. You don't do that by resting your weight onto someone else.
No.
I mean, to be fair, Ark will like start off and he'll do that. And then he'll be like, I'll go heat the cool. And then you can see all the changes in his body alignment. And then he'll get the position where you feel like you're like, I can't push more into him. But what he's doing here is the bad version. Usually.
Well, you get no leverage.
Yeah.
And for the viewers, look, there are a series of adjustments that you can do to your body, ranging from very simple to increasingly complex. And I covered in my Instagram and stuff. Part of this relies on the fascial network. Part of it is a balance thing, but essentially you push on the person and you get no leverage, but it's not by this simplistic method that Chris Hein is showing here. And by the way, you can use some of these, I would label them as physical tricks, to where you exhibit an upward force on the person, so they can't exhibit a physical force back on you. Like, you can use that as an assist if the person is really big and really strong. And in fact, we don't have the video right now, but Chen Xiaowang actually does this, I believe, with like this giant wrestler guy. Like, I could see him floating the guy's elbows up to act as an assist on top of what he's already doing.
And I think that's actually something that Chris talks about later. But
yes,